What's up, everyone? Matt here. Just wanted to give you a heads up. We had some technical difficulties during this recording. So we lost Rayleigh's HD audio video file. So we're having to use her backup file. That caused the quality of her video to be a little rougher on the YouTube version, and the audio levels are a little wonky. So I did my best to balance everything out, but I am not an audio engineer. So bear with us on that. It's not up to my standards, but it's still really good. This is a really fun episode. I think you're really going to enjoy. So with that,
so many dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of dicks. Like so many dicks. So many dicks.
I might
like
take
so
20%.
Many dicks. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Down Once More podcast with Matt and Rayleigh. And this episode, we are going to be talking about the Moulin Rouge, which, if you are not familiar with, is a film from 2001 with Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman. It is da bomb, and we will get into it in a bit. And I have a feeling, I don't know, I haven't discussed this with Matt at all, but I have a feeling that he is raring to go to disagree with me on this film. I have this instinctual feeling that we're going to be debating about this, but we haven't discussed it yet. So anything he has to say, I have not heard yet before. So what are you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, this is going to be an interesting one. The last episode on Twisted was basically just a love fest and us quoting it back and forth and how great it was. This one, I haven't had one of these takes in a while. This one might end the podcast. It's going to be, we'll get into it, but yeah.
Oh boy, that sounds fun. I can't wait.
Yep.
But in the meantime, before we get started on that, we have to go through our little rigmarole that we always do in the beginning of our episodes.
Yep.
And if you've watched any of our episodes, you know now that Matt has forced upon me the tradition of what he calls vocal warm-ups. Don't.
You can't say shit like that people can like clip out of context. You're like, Matt's forced upon me. Like, you can't fucking do that shit. It's 2022. Everyone is editing shit.
Nope. It has been recorded. It is on now. So if you ever do anything to piss me off, I now have I have recorded proof that I claimed that you have forced upon me whatever I want to put in there. So good luck with that. Anywho, moving right along, we're going to do vocal warm-ups, which, if this is your first time watching any of our episodes, this is just a word vomit sesh. Each of us gets 60 seconds to talk about 3 topics of our choosing, and we almost always go over the time, at least by a few seconds, because neither of us can control our word vomiting. And so it's kind of like a free-for-all, and I'm going to set a timer for you. You're going to go first this time because I went first last week.
That's right. Got to keep it fair. Got to keep it even. I will add one disclaimer before this episode. Right before this, I went to a cocktail and chocolate / dessert pairing at a distillery here. So it was like 5 different. Yeah, it was like a chocolate shop here in town, fancy one.
Fuck.
Worked with them, so it was like 5 different cocktails and 5 different like mini desserts, and that is all I have eaten tonight. And I'm still drinking.
Please tell me you have booze with you.
It's gonna be like double interesting. Like, we're gonna be fighting.
Prove to me that you have booze. I don't believe you. Okay, he has something that looks boozy. Oh, okay, thank you, Matt. Right. Okay, fine. But also, I just want to defend myself for a moment. I need to see your booze, and I need you to prove to me that you were drinking booze, because last episode, I thought the entire time you were drinking booze. I thought you were taking shots like a motherfucker, just like popping shots, like boop, boop, boop. And I'm like over here in my head thinking, like, God, how is he not wasted? He's been just like down in this booze, whatever he's drinking. No, there would be no friendship. You're right. It's my boundaries. And in this case, is the Magic Kingdom, protective of our kingdom and our name and our brand. Motherfucker. India. Although, side note, My poor child. She's like, Jafar, I never noticed her. Or maybe actually, technically, he wants to rewind time. I am Prince Ahmed. I just visited.
So funny.
I get hilarious. Follow sometimes you're like, oh my god, I know what that movie is. Oh, I know what that movie is.
Just put that in so many things.
Oh, right. Low budget, small cast, so a lot of the characters. And not until we finished recording, after we had we're done and the recording's off, then you tell me, oh, by the way, it's water. Like, oh, you son of a bitch. This entire time I thought you were getting just as toasty as me, and I'm over here drinking by myself.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, I don't know if that makes her a good friend or a shitty friend. Because, like, I took, like, it was all water, but I took, like, 20 fucking shots during that thing.
I kept waiting for it to kick in, and I was like, damn, where's the party at?
Yeah, I'm just like, ugh. And that was probably
I was actually, but I was impressed.
I
was impressed because I was like, my God, he's drinking like we're 18 right now. Not that I drank when I was 18.
I did. Homeschooled.
Yes, we know. You have discussed it with us multiple times.
It's
we
like
know
a hall
the
pass,
homeschool story.
Homeschool card.
No, that should make you even crazier.
Homeschooled.
That should make you even crazier and even more likely to drink. Anyway, whatever.
That's true.
So that's why I had to ask you to prove that you were drinking booze. Just for anybody who's like, what the fuck? Why does she need to know that? I need to know because I've been deceived by you in the past and I don't fucking trust you.
Fair. Also, for anyone who cared and is keeping notes, I've stopped keeping notes on Love Island and I'm now just watching Love Island. Rayleigh shamed me to stop keeping notes.
Because you keep 17 notebooks worth of notes.
I like to think that was.
You don't even want to talk about Love Island.
That was thorough. That was thorough homework. In case I was going to do an episode and get in, the horny reality TV people into our circle and have them support us now. Just trying to grow the brand. That's all. That's all I'm trying to do.
You find a way to bring up Love Island. Like, folks, fact check me on this. Has there been one single episode that we have recorded and put out that you have not at least mentioned Love Island? I don't think I mentioned one time. Now,
Rent or
mind you, we haven't done an episode on Love Island, so there is no reason to talk about Love Island. It's not musical. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You just talk about it all the time. All the time. I want to get back to
because that's my true passion. That's what I really want to be doing this podcast about.
Clearly, you need a side pod.
Yeah,
side pod. Don't include me.
I was going to, and that's what the notes were for, and then I got shamed about it.
You were going to not include me, or not? Oh,
I was going to do it without you on my Love Island thing. I was going to call it "Alone on an Island" or some bullshit like that about how I'm all alone in my love for Love Island, and it was going to be fantastic. And then I got shamed about it, and now I didn't.
Matthew,
really?
I feel for you, but I cannot reach you.
Okay, let's
moving on from Love Island. Please, God.
Get your timer ready.
Okay, vocal warm-ups. We got 60 seconds on the clock, folks. We're going to hear what Matthew has to tell us today. First of all, are you ready, Matt?
Yeah, I was going to say something. I'm not going to do
Say it. Spit it out.
Well, how do you feel about playfully being called bitch? I was going to say, get the timer ready, bitch. And then I'm like, I don't know. There's some people that really bothers, playful or not. So I didn't. So now I wasn't gonna ask, but now you said I have to say it. So I'm asking, what level of playful banter are we?
You know what? I totally appreciate you asking me that question, bitch. Mm-hmm. Call me bitch whenever you want, as long as it's not for real, because then I will fucking cut you.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm good with that.
I will cut you.
It will end you. All right. I probably never gonna actually do it now because you've already threatened to edit shit for me. So
no, please do, because it'll be funny and make me laugh.
Okay. I'm gonna do it when you least expect it. You're gonna be pouring your heart out about something. I'm just saying, shut up, bitch. Except that would probably be closer to meaning it, which would be what I don't have permission for.
and then I won't have to cut you.
Fair.
I love you. You're my friend. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Set. Go.
Okay, I got reached out on Instagram by a sugar baby scam that is offering me $600 3 times a week. Nothing sexual, which is kind of a deal breaker. But usually I'm like, this is a bot. I'm not going to believe it. This person has over 1,000 followers. So I was very tempted to respond because that sounds awesome. I'm great at texting. I'm annoying as fuck at texting. Ask Rayleigh. I send 12 messages over 5 days and never get a response. Second, yes, I think that they need to ban the use of screeching tires, police sirens, crashing noises in songs. One of my playlists, I have Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus, and it went back to back with that and Die in California by Machine Gun Kelly, and they both have like screeching tires in them, or like Cop Car by Lil Wayne that has sirens. Fucking hate it. And then final thing, I'm irrationally angry about a decision made in Love Island. So that's it.
Oh my God.
I thought I had a different one there, but I don't. So I wasn't going to use the Love Island one, but I didn't have another one noted here. So
I can't escape.
Zeta's the worst, and people like Zeta, and she should have been dumped, and she chose to couple up with someone else, so she can't be pissed off that Timmy's with someone else. You don't get both things. Oh no, I fucking want Timmy. Well, you should have fucking picked him then. You had that choice, bitch.
The fuck are you talking about?
Real ones know.
Do y'all understand what I'm dealing with? This shit never ends.
You deal with this once a month when we record.
I cannot.
Whatever.
I cannot. Okay, but I want to say on your sugar baby note, I also was contacted not by sugar baby, by sugar daddy, and it seemed super legit. Like, this guy was offering me $1,000 a week, and he lived in California, so he didn't want anything but just companionship, right? And I was like, fucking gee. This was, by the way, like at the end of the pandemic year, the first year, 2020, when like all hell broke loose and I was all alone in my apartment, like just like rocking and crying and like hating life. Like, please save me from this shit. And somebody reached out and I was like, oh my God, I'm cute enough to be a sugar baby. Yes. And we texted for like a day. And I didn't get any money for it, but it was magical.
Yeah. Just that boost. Here's what you gotta do. You gotta just start a foot OnlyFans. It's just feet. And you just make money that way.
I do have
and
cute feet.
The worst part of that would be
they're tiny.
Dealing with the really creepy messages. We don't kink shame here. If you're into feet, cool, good for you. But I'm sure you'd probably get some weird requests. I will offer to be your manager and peruse the DMs for you and save you from the real creepy ones. And I'll only take like 10%.
Dude, this is
and like I'm the one who's gonna have to deal with the traumatic messages and probably a lot of dicks.
You're gonna screen my DMs.
Yeah,
so
screen
many
your
dicks.
DMs.
So many dicks. Like a lot of dicks. Like so many dicks. So many dicks.
I might
like
take
so
20%.
Many dicks. You know what? You would earn that. I would allow that because if you're gonna put up with that many dicks, now granted, I put up with that many dicks on a daily basis, and I get paid for it.
You're giving me great clips for the teaser right now. Put up with so many dicks.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that one through.
It's my producer brain.
Yeah, so the sugar baby, sugar daddy thing. Yeah, but also, yes, I agree with you. Also agree with you. The tire screeching, it is very irritating. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of most of the sound effects that they do in rap songs. I'm kind of just like, why do we need police sirens? I know what the police.
Why do I feel like I'm getting shot right now?
It's the sound of the police. Like,
that's an exception.
I know. I do
That's not
know,
like a
though, that
real
that is the sound.
siren, but
Like, I know
mhm.
that is the sound of the police. I know what the sound of the police sounds like because I'm a gangster.
Yeah, I've
I,
I
I
didn't
don't fuck with
realize
the
that
police.
I've been on a teenage dirtbag kick recently. Like I'd never listened to that song until like a week and a half ago, and now I listen to it all the time.
Ever?
Yeah, like never heard it before, and then it
It's a
was in
good
one of my
song, though.
games.
It
Yeah,
is a good
yeah,
song.
sketchy. And then like I'd listen to it because it was in this game that I play that's like Guitar Hero but on your phone, kind of, where you tap to it, and I heard it on there, and it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
have the part with the tire screeching and the crashing sound, and so I'm listening to it driving on my
Hmm.
way to work, and then hear and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Did you have a little bit of a heart attack? A
Yeah,
little panic attack?
yeah.
I
I'm like, son of a bitch. But all right, are you ready for the
am ready, I think. Oh my god, so weird that you're singing that song. My son Rivers has been obsessed with that song for like the last, I don't know, 2 weeks. He's like, he gets in the car and he's like, Mama, I want to listen Thunder. And that's the
Nice.
song that way, and he knows it plays drums in the background. Thunder.
When we're not recording, little did you know, I'm your son. I already regret saying that.
Yeah, that was not what I was expecting at all.
No. You're lucky I call you bitch instead of mommy.
This episode is so weird already. So fucking weird. All right, let's move on.
Damn it. Okay. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready,
Hit me.
set, go.
Okay, so first of all, I'm sick of fucking paying the pink tax, right? And if you don't know what the pink tax is, it's a term for the tax that the disparity between the prices that women pay for things that men pay for things like pens and razors. And so I am now buying men's razors, and we are not sponsored by Harry's. But I tell you what, ladies, go buy yourself some Harry's razors because they're cheap and they're amazing, and I like them a lot. And you don't have to pay the pink tax. Next thing, I'm obsessed with Peaky Blinders now. It's a show on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Irish gangsters in Birmingham, England. And I think it's amazing. And I'm in love with the guy, Cillian, whatever his name is. I'm so in love with him. He's amazing. So I've been walking around the house practicing my Irish accent. I've been like, I order the Peaky fucking Blinders.
10 seconds.
That's what I've been doing. Third thing is, I would just like to state for a fact, so everybody knows this about me. I haven't set foot in a gym in over 5 years. I just don't do it.
Was that the end of that fact? You can finish it if you want.
I was just gonna say, like, gym life #, ain't for me.
Sick brag, bro.
I literally don't ever.
I naturally look like this. Oh my god.
No, fuck up. I wasn't saying that. I was saying, like, I'm afraid for my health. I'm afraid for my own sanity because everybody's like, you should work out and exercise. And I'm like, I don't know what the inside of a gym looks like anymore. I just can't make myself do it. I don't know why. I can't do it.
I did really good for a while. I went with a guy I worked with. We worked the same shift. And so he was always really into working out. And I would get up early and meet him at the YMCA, and we'd work out before work and then head into work together. Then I no longer worked at that job. Tried to do it every once in a while. After that, I just couldn't get into it. And that's what, like, I was in sales after I left that job. My second job was in sales. I was having to wear a shirt and tie and everything. And I'm like, that's just a pain in the ass to lug to the fucking Y every day. And
yeah, no,
I had knee issues and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is not worth it to get up this early just to, I don't know. And then I was doing like cold calls and stuff like that and walking around on leg day. I was always dead. And I'm like, this is a mistake. I don't
even have that excuse though. Like, that used to be me, and I used to go to the gym before work and all that stuff.
You have a child. You have the best excuse possible.
I have a gym that's like 30 feet that way out the door.
You didn't have to admit that. But...
It's right there. I'm shaming myself for the world to hear that I have no excuse. It is right there, and I just won't. Yeah, thank you for giving me an out because I have a 3-year-old. So
you're welcome.
Fuck all y'all judgy bitches.
That's right.
Anyway, moving on. Shall we talk about Moulin Rouge now?
Let's talk about Moulin Rouge.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
I'm going to let you
this week.
drive most of this conversation, and I will throw in my wrecking ball comments. Yeah. That's
that would
the
be
Disney
fun
version.
To see construction worker just like come in with a bell, like bang, hitting a wall. That'd be fun.
I was thinking Belle from Beauty and the Beast in Miley Cyrus's place on the ball. But that's some Rule 34 shit.
Wow. That was a stretch. Anywho, all right. So yes, okay, Moulin Rouge. This was my pick. This episode is my choice. It was Rayleigh's choice, and I fucking love this. Shall I start with like a little bit of a recap of the story?
Yeah, give us a little more of a recap.
Basically,
and then give us your history with it. I'm curious on when you discovered it and all that fun stuff.
Okay, I will. Thank you for asking. OMG. Okay, so basically, Moulin Rouge, and this is a one-liner that I found on a website which doesn't tell you shit, but I'll read it anyway. A poor bohemian poet named Christian in the 1890s. False. It's 1899. Paris.
1899 is the 1890s.
Yeah, but it's not in the 1890s. It's 1 year. The whole movie takes place in 1 year. Anywho.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Sorry.
He falls for a beautiful courtesan whose name is Satine. And she's also a nightclub star, but whatever. Not really a nightclub. That's a bullshit term that I wouldn't call it. Anyway, so that's a terrible synopsis that I just gave you that doesn't tell you anything. Yay.
I have a fun nerd fact.
This guy.
That ties into
I didn't even finish my...
You said that was the end of the synopsis.
For the one that's supposed to... Yeah, go ahead. Just fine. Go ahead.
In the animated Star Wars series, The Clone Wars, there's a plot line with Obi-Wan Kenobi, who Ewan McGregor voices in Star Wars, and his basically love interest, but he can't have love because he's a Jedi. His name is Satine in that. That's my fun fact. My fun nerd fact.
That has to be like a little
I don't know.
Easter egg, a little, I don't know what they call them, illusion.
Yeah, I thought it was
not
interesting.
Illusion, but illusion.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even look that up.
That's
I just
fun.
knew it.
Okay, I like that.
I'm kind of nerdy.
Kinda? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I know. So anyway, this guy in 1899 moves to Paris, and his name is Christian. He's a poet and a writer, and he's on a quest to find truth and beauty and love and write about it
and freedom.
Adventure and freedom. Thank you. It's true. And so by happenstance, he stumbles upon a troupe of bohemian artists who are trying to get their play to be performed and produced by the people in the Moulin Rouge, the owner, and then also the cast in Moulin Rouge. So he ends up writing this beautiful play. He has to meet the star of the Moulin Rouge. They call her the Sparkling Diamond. Her name is Satine, who is his love interest. He falls for her immediately, but she mistakes him for a duke who she is instructed to sleep with because she's a courtesan, aka prostitute. She's instructed to sleep with him so that the duke will invest in the Moulin Rouge and make more money. She thinks he's the duke, so she falls for her, but pretends to egg on this guy that she thinks is the duke. So, things happen and it's fun, and they actually do fall in love. But then the Duke himself is actually going to be involved in the Moulin Rouge. He's going to find out that they are in love. He's also after Satine, not because of love, but because he's a greedy fuck and wants the Moulin Rouge and Satine.
Horny.
Very, and just slimy. So the fun things happen. And the adventure ensues, and in the end, I won't give the end away. We're going to give the end away. I know we are.
Yeah, spoilers. The spoiler time.
So, spoilers, spectacular. They're going to have to hide their love from the Duke, and he's going to find out and be pissed off about it. And little does anyone know in the story, but Satine has contracted in her elegant line of work, has contracted consumption, aka tuberculosis. And that in the 1890s, 1899, was a deadly disease that no one had the cure for. So she is in fact dying, and no one knows that until closer to the end. We open the movie. The first scene is him admitting that Satina is dead, right? So we already know going into this, she didn't make it. And that sets the tone for just a really sad story, which is actually also very funny. And I'm dying to, I have to tell you my history. That's what you asked me. So I actually had to go back and look at the year that this movie was released, and it's 2001, which didn't make sense in my mind because the first time I watched it was actually the same year I met Matthew here, which would have been 2005, 2006, that range, when I moved to Iowa. And I was in Iowa and watched it. Your life. Very important. Very, very important for obvious reasons. I watched it that year, and I swear I watched it in the theater, but it doesn't make any sense that I would watch it in the theater 5 years after it was released.
Is it one, I'm thinking like Rocky Horror?
I think it was the one in that theater in Sioux City, Iowa, where they do like playbacks of movies that were released and have already gone through their like box
like
office
$2 or something.
Exactly. I had to go through this whole process thinking that I'm like, I watched it in the theater and I thought it was a new movie, but now I know that it was not. Pour, please. Pour. Oh, I can hear it. It's so cute. So I had to go. That was the year that I was introduced to it, and I immediately fell in love with it because I didn't know Ewan McGregor sings, and he does, and he has an amazing voice. Nicole Kidman is the star. If you haven't seen this, she is Satine, and Ewan McGregor plays Christian, poet/writer, and they're an amazing duo. And the songs are awesome because they're all songs that you've already heard, most likely. They're covers, not original songs.
It's a jukebox musical.
99% of them.
They call it, yeah.
I sense a bit of disdain in your voice. It didn't sound like respect. It sounded like disdain.
That wasn't about it being a jukebox musical. I have no problem with jukebox musicals.
All right, let's hear it.
I borderline hated this movie. I watched it for the first time last year. I rewatched it between last night and this morning. It is directed by Baz Luhrmann, which he has his own style. It's very unique.
He also did, by the way, Romeo and Juliet, the newish take on Romeo and Juliet, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, which is very controversial by people who actually love Shakespearean plays and say that it is a complete and total disaster. And I don't necessarily disagree with them.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of a garbage modern version. It has its beautiful moments, but his same style is taking an old thing and making it kind of a modern version.
My biggest issue with it, and it's so much more prevalent in the first act, because technically the old Moulin Rouge movie was 1951. It was based on a book, not a musical. This is own interpretation, some of the same plot. I started watching the 1951 movie, got 10 minutes into it. It's on Amazon Prime, though, if anyone's interested. It has decent ratings on IMDb. It did not interest me. And I didn't even read the Wikipedia. So I'll be upfront about that. That's something else about this podcast I will be upfront about. I'll speak for myself. I am not a musical expert. I'm not a musical theory expert or anything like this. Everything I say is my own ignorant opinion, or like, it's not fact. This is how I feel about it. And I'm not an expert. So yeah, if you disagree with me, if you want to get in a lecture with, but blah, 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 this is all this and this and this on like specific fine-tuned aspects or keys or shit like that, I don't care. I just know I like listening to it and it makes me feel something. This made me feel upset. The first act is so fucking over the top and slapstick with sound effects of boing and shit like that when we're songs. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? And it takes away from the actual message and the heartbreak and shit like that. I feel like it just slaps it in the face. This is tonally all over the fucking place and doesn't make any sense. Like I was more like upset watching this because it's like the love story is great. Some of the heartbreaking moments and the stuff they have to deal with is great. Meanwhile, I've got fucking Zidler dressed up in a shawl singing Like a Virgin by Madonna. And then the next scene, it's like, hey, here's a song with rape and almost murder. Like attempted rape. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? I hate it. Don't like it.
He hates it, folks.
Yeah, I lowered my rating on Letterboxd from what I had it before. I had it at 3 out of 5 before. It's at 2.5. So it's not like awful, but I'm like, this is 50 out of 100.
That's pretty awful.
It's which is a low rating for me. Like
wow.
Some of the stuff was okay. Ewan McGregor sounds decent. Nicole Kidman sounds decent. The scene when I'm taking over this now. The scene when her and Christian first meet in her dressing room and he's first singing the song and trying to come up with stuff and she's moaning like a fucking psychopath rolling around is just I want to shoot myself in the head during that scene.
I love her in the carpet. She puts the carpet over her head and she rolls around and she's like, yeah, naughty words. I
just
love it.
So over the top. I'm like, what the?
But that is the point, Matthew. That is the point. That is why I love this musical because it takes the sad moments. You start off this musical thinking this is going to be a fucking downer of all downers because in the very first scene he says, "My love, Satine, is dead." Right? So you think, "Oh my God, I'm going to have a heartbreak through this. This is going to be a hard one to get through." And then immediately you are relieved of that sorrow because there's so much chaos happening and it's hilarious. And I love what they do. There's an amazing effect in this that they do where these and he's talking about these like silly moments. They're really silly. They're almost like ridiculously silly. And they speed up the camera work. So everybody they're walking like this and and running over here and running over there. And
I hated his direction and film style.
Jump. I thought it was hilarious. Okay, but they do that so that you can get like a sense of like a relief from the sad part, which you've just been introduced to in the first scene. So then you get into this scene with the Argentinian who's a narcoleptic Argentinian who falls asleep random times. The best parts in the movie are when he's just for no reason whatsoever. You get introduced to this group of bohemian artists who is led by a little person. They call him a dwarf in the movie, which is not PC. You cannot say that. He's a little person.
I thought that's what's
named
preferred.
Toulouse. No, little person is correct. Trust me on this.
Okay.
Little person. They call him a dwarf, but he's a little person. His name is Toulouse, who's played by John Leguizamo. Did I say his name right?
Yes,
Leguizamo.
I believe so.
He's an acclaimed actor. He's like a really good actor. This part for him is so off, so bizarre. He's a little person who has this like super exuberant personality, and he has a lisp and a speech impediment, and it's so cute. And he's like,
fucking
she loves you, Christian.
I hated his
so
accent,
He's
voice.
So
he was doing so goddamn much.
So
I
cute.
hated that. I'm not usually like a hater. I don't know. Maybe it's just like my headspace this week, but
apparently.
Fuck, I hated Toulouse's voice that he did, the accent. Oh my God. Because that's the thing.
Adorable.
Like you stated that Toulouse is actually in love with Satine. And
no, what?
He's looks so upset when he's watching Christian and Satine in her.
Yeah, he's upset because he believes in love. And when their love dies, he's very heartbroken. Christian is his
This was before
friend.
when they were first, like after the first night, when he goes back to her on her fucking elephant that somehow is there, but it's not there in other camera shots.
In
so why isn't
her
there always
elephant,
the
not
fucking
on.
elephant there? Does her
They're
fucking
in
elephant
her
walk
elephant.
away? And then there's the stupid face on the moon. Anyways, after the first scene with when he leaves and then he goes back and he climbs up that night and then sings his love medley with like four songs.
We're gonna get
Toulouse
into
is sitting
love
there
medley, okay?
like looking sad watching them.
No, he's not sad. He's enamored with the love that's happening. It's love. Okay, remember, he believes in the bohemian lifestyle dogma, which is freedom, beauty, truth, and love. And so all things artistic are his life. And he believes in it so much that his whole entity, whatever, we don't get into Toulouse. But I do think it's creepy, to your point, that Toulouse and all their little gang watch what's happening in the elephant, because when they go in the elephant, Satine, who I need to say this, Satine thinks when Christian goes into the elephant with her, she thinks he is the Duke who is supposed to invest, she's supposed to seduce so that he will invest in the Moulin Rouge. She is under the impression that she's got to seduce this man so that he will pay money for her business and turn her into an acting star. So she's in there just pulling out all the stops, right? She's doing all the prostitute things. You're like, oh my God, yes, naughty words. And he's over there trying to I'm supposed to show you that I'm a good poet and artist and writer. And so I'm trying to speak poetry to you. And he's all nervous and it's adorable. She thinks she's trying to seduce him. He thinks he's trying to sell her on poetry. And it's a really awesome interaction where they're just totally, completely miscommunicating. And then he just floors her with your song, quote unquote, your song. Everyone who knows Elton John will know this is his, in my opinion, Elton John's greatest song, Your Song. And he's over there trying to...
I was going to say, in that note, we should do Rocket Man sometime because I loved Rocket Man.
Yes, we should.
It's one of my favorite.
I have a lot to say about Rocket Man. A lot. But anyway, yeah, so he breaks into song because he's so nervous around her and he's already in love with her and she doesn't know it. And that's what hooks her. He just says, "My gift is my song." And she's like, oh shit, this guy's legit. She still thinks he's a duke, but then she's like, oh man, this is a real dude that I could love. Right. So, but back to the point about Toulouse, I think it's really creepy that he and his gang members are watching this interaction in the elephant now, and commenting on how big his dick is.
Yes.
Remember, she's like, oh, big boy.
I made comments.
Toulouse
I put down exactly what they said. I'm like, what the fuck?
He has a huge talent.
Yeah. So it is.
Huge talent. But yeah, so that happens. And then also Harry Seidler is also watching. He's got his telescope and he's looking in the elephant and he's like, let's take a little peek. Harry Seidler, by the way, if you haven't seen this, is the owner of the Moulin Rouge, who's also Satine's pimp. He's basically the one that sells her out to the Duke so that he will invest money. But he kind of also loves her, she's his his flower, his little charm that he sends out, and their relationship is fun. He's also a good singer. I don't know his name. His name is Jim Brent something or other. Brent Myth something, whatever. He's also a really good singer, but a very, very, very cheesy character.
Right.
And yes, he does wrap himself in a tablecloth and sing Madonna's Like a Virgin. He does do that, and it is a scene worth watching, for sure.
I think ultimately what it comes down to, because the main theme story of this, I really like and agree with. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. well, not necessarily trip, calisthenical person, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm not gonna get into all that, but I like that message. My biggest thing, like I said, is I feel like the over the top elements and slap stickiness of it with his Baz Luhrmann's directorial style, and with like the super speed ups, the super cuts, all the sound effects with everything when you move, it's like whoosh, whoosh, and then like all the a boing. Like I was waiting for when she was moaning to get an awooga in there or some shit like that. Like to me,
I wish they'd put that in
and like
there.
I said, I think mine is the unpopular opinion. This is a very well acclaimed movie. It won awards.
Yeah, it was
And
nominated
everything.
for a bunch of Oscars.
Yeah, like I said, all just my opinion. To me, it took away those elements and I get what you're saying, that provides some relief from how dark it is. I understand that, and I could see that. But to me, those were the more heavy-handed things, which it gets significantly less in the second act. The second half, it does. Like, that drops off more, and it is about the drama, the romance. But then you still have in the final fucking scene with the gun that flies out, and it just flies in the air forever, and then it conveniently rolls by the Duke. And then when it gets knocked out of his hands, it goes flying out the window past the moon with its stupid face, and then dings into the tower. I'm like, can we not take
Eiffel
a break
Tower,
for like
yes.
5 fucking seconds? Like, to me, it took away from the gravitas and the heartbreak and the emotions, some of those scenes. That's me. Like, if you're going to be telling a story about love, heartbreak, and loss, fucking embrace it. Don't turn it into a fucking Three Stooges movie on the side. That's me.
This is why I think it is the great version of that. I think it is a tragedy that also is a comedy. And I think if you can mesh those together and make them both work, because the comedy is true comedy and it is hilarious. The tragedy is true tragedy. There are moments that make you cry in this movie that actually legitimately, I'm not just like, oh, that's sad. It's done so well that I feel emotionally moved by it. That to me is success. You've accomplished this, but you've also accomplished this, and you can put them together and have them in the same movie. To me, that is talent, because it's not just one or the other, it's both. And I think they wanted those serious moments to be serious, but they wanted them to be few and far between, because most of it is just for entertainment. So you're watching it, you're just like, I am entertained as fuck by this. This is hilarious. The scene in the elephant when, right, so Satine obviously figures out that he's not a duke. She realizes, oh, this is just a writer, and I've been duped. Not duped yet, but duped. And so she's now like, oh my God, what is happening? Then the Duke does actually show up. Now she's got to figure out how to save this scenario, because he thinks he sees her with Christian, and he's immediately, of course, like, what the fuck is this? He was foul play. And so she has to recover in the moment and says, no, this is a writer, and he's writing our new play, which is called Spectacular, Spectacular. And then Harry Ziegler shows up to try to save the scene, and so he jumps in. And they all have to basically write Spectacular, Spectacular in the moment, figure out what the story is so that they can sell this to the Duke and make sure that he doesn't think she's sleeping with Christian.
Right.
In that process, he writes the story. This is what's so great about it. He writes the story that Christian and Satine are actually living in the moment for the show that's going to be the play within the play.
He just adds cultural appropriation to
it. So much.
It's like, oh yeah, it's in India.
It's set in India. And
with all these white people.
There's a sitar player. And that song, so exciting. The audience was thumping. Okay. So delighting. It will play for 50 years.
This is going to seem contradictory to everything I said. I did actually like that song. And I think it's because it was to the That is the epitome
of the slapstick,
I
fast
can.
speed up,
I know.
spinning around, being like, and there's a lot of like,
I
woo,
liked.
wee, bam,
I
wow, woo.
liked that on its own. I hated it in this movie. I agree with what you're saying.
Makes no
If you
sense.
can balance the drama and the comedy well hand in hand, I agree. I applaud you. To me, though, these were so tonally different, and they were even shot and portrayed completely different. It seemed like it was two different crews, two different movies, that it doesn't,
Yep.
to me, it doesn't mesh. Like, I get that, like, it could be intentional. It's a directorial choice. Some people applaud it. To me, it made it feel like I was watching such a fucking disjointed movie. Because, like I said, you go from the complete slapstick with the supercut speed ups and everything like that, and then you go to these very, like, haunting, dramatic songs, melodies, scenes. It didn't mesh for me. Like I said, to be my
Yeah.
headspace this week. I didn't rate it great when I first watched it a year ago either. Though, and it just, like I said, everyone has different tastes. Everyone likes their own thing. I'm sure there's people who fucking hated Twisted, which we both enjoyed. Like,
Probably.
everyone has their
But fuck
own
those
taste.
people.
That's right.
Fuck them.
I guess fuck me on this one. But
Yes.
yeah. So
Fuck you on this one.
I don't know. I understand why people like it. Ewan McGregor is great in it. Nicole Kidman is great in it. Their characters are just not Ewan McGregor as much. I feel like plays it fairly straight throughout the whole thing. Nicole Kidman is all over the place with when she's over the top, when she's not. And like I said, I think that's from a directorial decision, how they were told to play it, at least her as well. Because Baz Luhrmann, he's a very, like, The Great Gatsby that he did, that had a lot of people differing opinions. I've heard mixed things about the Elvis movie that he did and stuff like that. It's just like, it's very bright. It's very it's its own thing. The Australian movie he did sucked. With Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman as well. I just I don't know. Like I said, I understand it. I don't fault you for liking it. Like, the songs and the arrangements are very interesting. Like that medley when Christian shows up after that first night when they do Spectacular, then go their own ways. He climbs up the elephant. Again, why the fuck does she have an elephant? Like, they wanted this to be India so fucking bad.
It's her seduction room. It's her seduction room.
In France, she's got a fucking elephant you have to climb up to seduce people.
Why the fuck shouldn't she have an elephant? You have elephant asses right behind your head.
I
have an elephant just for this movie. Right here. See? I'm wearing my elephant.
It's fair. You are wearing your elephant. Yeah.
Now, you have elephant asses. If you're listening to this and you can't see this on video, Matthew has a framed picture of elephant asses. Thus, two elephant asses behind his head. So don't tell me that you have a problem with elephants randomly being in places.
My wife rearranged.
This movie has randomly elephants. Yeah, this place.
My wife rearranged the decor down here. I want to get. I have something specific, a piece of art that I want to get to put there behind me when we're on this, but I have not gotten that approved yet. For it doesn't go with the decor apparently. But I agree. But I really love, like, Nicole Kidman when she's saying, put down the name of it, and then I just deleted the One Day I'll Fly Away. She nailed that. Song. She crushed it. It was great. And then when Christian shows up and he's singing the All You Need Is Love medley that had Don't Leave Me This Way, Up Where We Belong, I Will Always Love You. Titanic song from before we started recording when you called me out on it. But, like, I thought that was great. I thought there were some really good arrangements and stuff like that were fun, and hit me here. Like, I get that. I'm like, I don't want to get, like, that emotion and then going to, like, I wouldn't have been surprised if there was a fucking fart joke in this movie, like with some of the slapstick things. And, like, that's what I'm like, you're telling this very, like, kind of dark, sincere story about love, which is a very valid thing. And then I don't know. I'm repeating myself now. It's just like for me.
Let's talk about the music.
What I didn't
Okay.
disconnect.
Let's talk about the music. Okay. So apparently, Baz Luhrmann, to his credit, who wrote this with a guy named Craig Pierce, I think. The two of them wrote together. The original idea for this movie was to have all original music. They were going to actually write an entire musical and all new songs for this. They started thinking through the story, and they started just throwing in like songs that they knew that were just references for the team. So basically you're like, okay, we need a song that talks about jealousy. Like we need a heartbreaking song about jealousy. Okay, what's a really good one? Okay, Roxanne.
How'd you feel
like
about the Roxanne scene?
We'll get to that just a second.
Okay.
But originally they were going to write a song about jealousy for that scene, and they just threw that in for like practice and for the team to think about, okay, this is the emotion that's going to be behind this. We need this song as sort of a reference so you know how to feel during this scene. As they continue to practice and sort of like get through the casting process and get through the whole like figuring out the show process, they realize you're not going to be able to write a song that matches that tone better than that song. So if you're looking for that song's tone exactly, why not just use that song? So in the process of directing this and creating this and writing the story, they figured out that, you know what, this is not going to be an original musical with original songs. We're actually just going to use the songs that we thought in the very beginning. It's like your gut reaction, right? Your gut instinct tells you, this is what I want. Go with that. So they stuck with it and they decided to use a song. So in this movie, there are something like 50 different songs that are referenced that are all cover songs. There's one, count them, one original song in this entire show. The rest of them are covers. The one song that's the original is their quote unquote lover's secret song, which is Come What May. And it's so good.
That one is a good song.
But this song is a song that they write for the play that they're going into that says, when the lovers hear this song, they will know no matter what happens, if you have to sleep with a duke, if you have to sleep with whoever, if you have to go like, do whatever you got to do, come what may, whatever happens, you will remember that I love you, you love me, we're together in this, we can get through this no matter what. So when that song is written, that's like the hardship that they're going through in their relationship. That's the only original song in the entire show. The rest of them are covers, but the covers are arranged in fun ways. So like in the Elephant Love Medley, like you said, there's about 10 different songs.
There's a shitload of songs in that medley.
It might be more than 10 actually, but a ton of different songs that they reference, they're singing. Some of them sound the same. Some of them they switched up and like the melody's not exactly the same. But it is so good. It's so good. So good. So good. And they just took
Sweet
all this music.
Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba.
You said so good multiple times, so I had to. Sorry.
So good. So good. They took songs that already, this is what I think is genius about it. They took songs that already mean something to you, Matthew, and to me, Rayleigh. And we know emotionally what they do to us or what they mean or how they make us respond. And they dropped them into these different scenes. So when you're watching it for the first time, you're not expecting that. You're expecting them to burst into song. It's a musical. But when they start singing a song, I think that does something to your brain chemistry. When you're like, I know that one. All you need is love. You hear that, you go, ba, 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 da, da. You know immediately that that's going to happen. And you're like, I know that song and I love that song and I want to be a part of this so bad. I want to stand on top of that elephant and I want to burst into a song about love and all the different love songs that I know too.
See,
I want to do that.
Maybe we're uncovering part of my problem. I, for the most part, do not care for oldies songs.
Oh God, here we go.
And
there you go.
That could be a part of it. Like you're saying, you have that brain connection, that chemistry that those songs trigger. Most of those are songs I either don't know or don't give a shit about. So
You know the Beatles. You know Madonna.
yeah, I don't like the Beatles.
Oh my God. Wait.
There's a couple songs I don't mind. For the most part, I find it boring
Shut
and not a fan.
the fuck up.
So, like, it's just, they're
I would
iconic,
like
but they're
you to
iconic for my
say that statement.
grandparents.
What?
Like,
I would like you to
I'm
state
30.
no. I would like you to say that statement one more fucking time.
I don't
You
care
what?
for the Beatles. I will never listen to them voluntarily.
Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I think our friendship just ended. I think I would like to
There's so much music
a moment of silence
that has
been
created
a moment of
in
silence
the
for our
decades
friendship.
I have been alive.
A moment of silence for our friendship. It's over. It's done. R.I.P.
Well, now I can release all the clips I have, really. All our anti-Semitic comments.
I can't believe you don't like the Beatles.
I just, like, it's, to me, I feel like arrangements and quality, like, it's not what triggers an emotional response in me. It doesn't interest me. Most oldie songs and stuff like that. And honestly, part of it's probably how I grew up. When I was raised we talked about before, was homeschooled and raised very religious. We only listened to Christian music and Christian radio. Every once in a while, when my mom wasn't in the car, my dad would throw on Toby Keith with the secret hidden CD. So I'd get some Toby Keith action.
Oh, that wild and
but
crazy
other than
Toby
that,
Keith.
It was just Christian music. So I wasn't exposed to oldies and stuff growing up. So I didn't find a love or fondness for them. I listened to them when I was older, high school and older. I would catch ones here or there. Every once in a while, there's one that I enjoy. But for the most part, I have been more saturated with music from my generation, whether it's like Blink 182 or some throwback like 90s, we get Backstreet Boys, shit like that, and then just more modern music with more complicated arrangements and different features. And that's just because that's what I have a connection to, and so that's what I care for. I'm not going back and listening to the stuff that, in my mind, partially because how I was raised and everything, to me doesn't sound nearly as intricate, interesting, or something I connect to as much. And that's
That
what it
makes
is.
sense.
So you can blame my parents.
Now, at the end of
I
every
tell my
episode,
therapist every time too.
we say how Matthew was homeschooled, and this is the reason for all of his problems.
Don't say it that often.
We've established that anything that sucks in your life, including hating this musical, because that sucks. That sucks a lot.
Like I said, I watched this
That's
for the first time last
homeschooled.
year. I didn't have any connection to this. I watched it for the first time last year.
Okay,
so
fair. But, however, I have watched musicals that you have sent to me in the last year, and I have found...
If you watch multiple, I feel like Twisted is the only one I've sent to you.
That's the only one that existed before this year. So, okay, fine. Fair. Okay, fine. But, okay, now I understand why you don't like this. Because when I listen to that music, those are cover songs that I listened to growing up, that I blasted. I laid down in our living room with speakers on either side of my head and listened to Abbey Road by the Beatles, the entire album, start to finish, probably 48 times between the ages.
They weren't Christian artists.
I did it, and this is, you want to talk about therapists. I did this. When my older sister was always fighting with my parents, and they were screaming at each other, and I was like a little preteen, like before I was a preteen, I was like a 10-year-old, and I was like, I don't want to listen to the fighting. So I listened to the Beatles, like loud. So then I hear the Beatles, and I go, oh, fond memories of my childhood when I would be alone and listening and coping and being my own therapist. That's what it was. So now I understand why you don't like this. This is like a light bulb moment.
Yeah,
Because
and
that music, I mean, listen, I'm not a big fan of Madonna. I don't give a fuck about Madonna. But in context, that song is hilarious. It's hilarious.
I know
It's
that song
hilarious.
from Pitch Perfect, and I like it better in Pitch Perfect.
Oh my gosh. If you're listening to this and you can't see my face, just know that I'm doing an ultimate like face palm.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Side note about therapists. My therapist texted me yesterday. I was supposed to have an appointment that she had a migraine and needed to reschedule. It's like, okay, I guess I'll just kill myself this weekend then. But not really.
Your fault, bitch.
That's right.
That's on you.
Sorry, your head hurts. No, I'm just kidding. I know migraines are more serious than that, obviously, and I do love my therapist. I'm just joking around. But
what if I die?
I have another appointment. We
Let's go
rescheduled
ahead
for Wednesday,
and
so
have
I
her
should
prosecuted.
be good. But
you're letting me know this.
I won't
in case
dox her on this. But
some tragic thing happens to you, so that I know who to go after and blame.
It's her fault.
If you die this weekend, I will blame her.
Yes.
I will
contact my wife for her contact details. I won't out her on the podcast.
I will do that.
But yeah, and also, fun note, we're gonna go on a little bunny trail here. We're talking about the music and shit like that, and I only listen to Christian music. There were these bands that were considered Christian, but they sounded more like poppy, kind of like Reliant K, Hawk Nelson, 11-7, stuff like that I listened to.
I know.
So I'm like, ooh,
I listen to them too.
Yeah, I'm like, they're technically Christian artists. I get them. Got the CDs. Even though you got the CDs at the Christian bookstore, I had to get rid of them because their lyrics weren't enough about Jesus. So, okay, that was that bunny trail.
Jesus, I love you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to get into... I asked you about Roxanne, and you said we'd get more into that.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about Roxanne.
What did you think about the Roxanne arrangement and everything in this film?
Why did you put film in quotes?
Because I think it was hot garbage, really.
It's still a film, regardless. So the air quotes unnecessary. Gotcha.
Is it?
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna like block you out right now. So Roxanne, I'm gonna tell you right now that I get a visceral reaction.
Roxanne. That's how he sounded. The narcoleptic Argentinian.
I wish I could slap you so hard.
Well, that's the perks of living like 10 states away. You can't.
God, I wish I could just like.
Okay. If we ever do one of these in person, I'm dead.
You're dead.
Like,
you're dead.
straight
you're dead.
up.
You're dead. You're so dead. You're 100% dead. So when Roxanne happens, Roxanne is a song by The Police, and they originated in the. So the
Police. It's a callback.
It was in the 80s, I think. I'm not really sure. I think
it was on
the
Guitar
80s,
Hero.
Late 70s, early 80s. I'm going to go ahead and guess. Don't out me if I'm wrong. But that song is actually a really dark song about a prostitute who sells herself. She's a lady of the night.
The scene is super dark. It's one of those vast, drastic tonal shifts I was referring to.
Oh my God. But it is a tango in this movie. So the song in the 80s, it sounds like a pop song. Roxanne, you don't have to bear that just night. It doesn't sound like intense. In this movie, they turn it into this like the whole group. What are they called? The whole
troupe.
Ensemble. Troupe. Thank you.
Including the fucking narc.
Yeah, the fucking prostitute who outs Christian and Satine for their little love affair.
Why would she be with a poor young writer? I mean, sitar player.
Why would she choose a penniless sitar, a penniless writer? Oops, I mean sitar player. Yeah, she totally like fucking narcs on him. And
damn bitch.
Right? Fuck that bitch. So then she is in the middle of this like big tango of the whole troupe, and it is so good. But the best part isn't the Roxanne; it's that the Roxanne is in the background and it's playing and the Argentinian is singing it. And yes, I agree with you that I don't love the way he sings it because he's got this like throatal, not that great voice, and it's just like,
it sounds like he should be in a death metal band.
You don't have to wear that dress tonight. And then in that moment, it's important to note, Satine is supposed to be wooing the Duke up in a tower to save the show, to save the Moulin Rouge.
Is the rape
She's
song.
doing her duty. She's doing her duty. I'm going to ignore you. She's doing her duty to woo the Duke so he will stay invested in this, and to lie to him and convince him that she's not in love with Christian, she's in love with him, and blah, blah, blah. But Christian is tortured by this. Meanwhile, his entire ensemble is egging him on and saying,
is a whiny bitch.
By the way, his entire troupe is egging him on and saying, by the way, you're in love with a prostitute. I don't know if you know what comes with being in love with a prostitute, but it means she sleeps with other dudes.
Yeah, why didn't Baz Luhrmann put In Love with a Stripper by T-Pain in here?
I'm in love with a stripper.
She poppin', she rollin', she rollin'. She climbing the pole, and I'm in love with the stripper.
Dude, that would be a great song in this. I'm just gonna say. But anyway, they choose Roxanne, and in the middle of this song, Christian is singing the most emotional thing that I think it's the most emotion he shows in the entire movie, even though there are other parts when he talks about she's dead. I don't even think he shows as much emotion, or there is as much emotion involved in those scenes as there is in that scene, because he's singing this like, why on my heart cry, feelings I can't fight. You're free to leave me, just don't deceive me, and please believe me when I say I love you. So good. And he sees, while he's walking and singing the song, he sees Satine up there, and she's all like, I got the Duke up here and he's about to fuck me. And he's all like, no, I don't want him to fuck you. And she's all like, yeah, but you know what? He's gonna fuck me. And he's like, no. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, no. And then she's like, okay, no. And she says no to the Duke because she sees Christian down there. I know, right? And the Duke realizes that's when he's like, fuck that
They
writer.
make no attempt to be subtle or discreet with this whole thing. Like, I get it's part of the thing.
Fact.
But, like, Jesus Christ, people.
Yeah, they're not secretive at all.
At least attempt, since this guy's fucking funding everything, and you know this.
And he's also like gonna murder you.
Yeah. Well, the murder doesn't come until the end.
No, but he's gonna destroy the club. He's gonna destroy their livelihood. He's got all the he's got all of the cards in his hand, and they don't even care to try to be secretive about it at all. They're like, yeah, fuck it, whatever.
Just one more thing.
I get it.
Just one more thing.
You hate it. I get it. But you're stupid. So
infuriating.
There's that. You're just an idiot. To me. Let me see. I don't think my notes included anything about you being an idiot, but let me just double check.
Well, that's because you just found out tonight.
Yeah. No, my notes don't say in here. End this podcast with that moron, but I can add them. I think I'm gonna add them. You're currently not even listening to me. Bitch. You're not even fucking listening to me.
Bitch, your commitment is 1 hour once a month. You can suck it up.
I asked for that because I told you just to use that word, and then you told me you were going to do it when I was least expecting it, and you did, and I'm fucking... I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
I'm jumping to the very end of this movie now. Because the whole thing, like, it opens... Christian is writing
We've been through this,
everything.
how much you hate it. I know. I get it.
Well, I'm being very combative on this. One, I feel like it makes it more interesting, and two, that's how I genuinely feel.
I do not think you should hide yourself in any way.
So it's revealed like this whole thing. Kristen's telling the story, which you know from the beginning because he's there with his typewriter saying, "Ooh, it's 1900. Got my typewriter." Why the fuck does he have all the pages of his story plastered to the wall like goddamn wallpaper? Like, these aren't
In
film
disarray,
negatives. The fuck
yeah.
are we doing with this? Like, you
No, I
don't need
did
to wait
notice
for it to
that.
dry. It's a typewriter. It took you 15 minutes to
Yeah.
type one page. Like, the ink's fucking dry, bro. Just
did
stack it
notice
up.
that. I did, and it bothered me too. I was like, well, my mind was like, they're all out of order. And you know he's not going to the bottom and to the right and going page number 11, page number 12. You know he's not doing that. So I was looking at it going like, how are you going to put your book together when you don't know which page is which? And you're going to have to go back through all of these and find the order. And that doesn't seem like it's logical at all. Mm-hmm. I really thought that was unnecessary. I agree with you there. That little fact, I was like, oh, okay, that's stupid. Yeah. But you know what? I forgave it.
Yeah. No,
Oh, can we talk about the song that they sing? It's not it's in the beginning, but not the beginning scene. It's when they first go to Moulin Rouge, right? And they first meet the Can-Can. They call it the underworld. The whole like Moulin Rouge is the underworld.
I saw so many roughly granny panties in that.
Yeah, a lot of roughly granny panties. There's a lot of
Doesn't do it for
there's
me.
a lot of old white
fetish.
men.
Not a fetish.
Good to know. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of old white men in this place called the Moulin Rouge. None of which are French, by the way. No one in this movie is French.
No one looks French.
That bothered me. They're in Paris and no one has a French accent.
Yeah.
They should have made someone French.
Question! Make fucking Toulouse French. Give it up. Bullshit accent.
His name is Toulouse, which is a city in France. So he ought to be French.
He was the main character in the 1951 version. Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, or something like that bullshit.
Monfa. He says that in the movie. Anyway, so when they get to Moulin Rouge, it's meant to be this like really like debaucherous, crazy place where they go to meet these like lecherous women who are just giving themselves to like old white men everywhere. And they're singing and playing Nirvana. I think it
smells like Teen Spirit, yeah.
Yeah. Here we are now, entertain us. Which they changed to make it not so like grungy.
Yeah.
More like
they adapted. They threw their own lyrics into these covers. Like it's almost like a combination of Weird Al and the version, just not like comedic for the most part, except Spectacular.
Which, okay, whatever.
I enjoyed Spectacular. I admitted that.
I know. I think it's hilarious that you enjoyed that, but you dislike all the slapstick.
I liked it on its own. I hated it in the movie. I liked it on its own. I would watch that clip before I would watch the movie again. Like I really enjoyed bits and pieces of this. I like Spectacular in its own bubble. I liked certain things in its own bubble. Like I said, just to me, cohesive and it wasn't tonally consistent or cohesive, and the transitions to me were too distracting and. But I'm not a fucking director. I don't have millions of dollars.
I think that they saved the movie. Okay. I want to also highlight before we're done, because I think we should wrap this up too.
Yeah, we've been.
I want to highlight or point out that this story was written loosely based on like mythology. So one of the reasons I love it is I studied history in school, and I'm a huge history nerd. And I love mythology, and the story of, and I forgot his name. His name is like, oh my god, I forgot his name. Orpheum.
Morpheus? That's the Matrix.
No, not him. He is this poet and writer in mythology, and he travels to the underworld to save his love. So they basically took his story and made Christian this mythological character, who travels to the underworld, which they actually call the Moulin Rouge the underworld. You're not listening to me.
I'm trying to
You can
look
tell
it
you're
up
not
and
listening.
find the information for you. I am listening.
Thank you. Goes down to the underworld and saves his love and pulls her back out. And folks, Satine dies. Okay, you need to know this.
Fun fact.
She dies.
Did you know Moulin Rouge is the French term for red mill? That's why the windmill.
That's the whole.
Why the fuck would I know that? I'm not fucking French. I don't speak French.
I do.
Okay. Well, that's a fun fact you could have led this shit off with.
You didn't know?
Jesus, what are you bringing to this?
Tu ne connais pas je parle français?
No hablo español.
Good.
I don't speak foreign languages.
Fantastic.
I know no hablo español. ¿Dónde está el baño? And el baño está para aquí.
No, je ne parle pas français.
Is that why you have a striped shirt? Because you're trying to.
Well, actually, yes.
Oui, oui. I know oui, oui. That's French.
Thank you for ruining that bomb drop that I was going to give. But I was trying to figure out what to wear for this podcast, and I almost went with full-on lingerie because that seemed on theme. But then I decided against that because
you just don't want us to grow our audience, do you? Like you
I'm
just are
totally
like,
against
hey,
us growing our audience.
I was gonna do this thing that probably would get us a lot of. I mean, granted, not our target audience, but get us a lot more views and get some traction. You're like, nah, yeah. How selfish of you.
I decided against that. So then I just went with what was obviously most culturally appropriate, which represents every French person ever, and that is the red and white horizontal stripes.
Did you notice I decided to wear something other than a black shirt tonight? I decided to mix it up.
So proud of you.
I'm not fine.
Anyway, so I think we should wrap this one up. I think we've said all we can say, and I've decided that we're not friends anymore, so we can move on with our lives. And I think we're good on Moulin Rouge. The synopsis, the end result is, I love this. Matt hates it, and
it has some good parts, some good moments. As a whole, yes, I hate it. It has some redeeming moments, though.
So, end result is, fuck Matt. Watch this movie.
Yes, please, people. Bring it on. Just kidding. I'm happily married. I don't want that.
Blackmailing your ass.
I mean, I edit this because I have integrity. I'll leave that in. Obviously a joke, people.
But yes, I think it was nominated for a lot of Oscars. I think you should watch it. I think you should enjoy it. I think you should take Matt's stupid voice out of your head and enjoy it, and appreciate Ewan McGregor, who I didn't know you could sing, and Nicole Kidman, who I also didn't know could sing. And they did a fantastic job. John Leguizamo plays a role that he's never played in his career before or after.
I mean, he played Sid the Sloth in Ice Age. It's almost as bad.
Did you? No, you did not. No, you didn't. Okay. I'm gonna move on from that because
you don't
if you were in front of me, you would get cut.
All folks, threats of violence.
I don't know what we're going to do for our next episode, but tune in to hear both of us say really important opinions. And when I say both of us, I mean myself and not Matt's, because Matt's opinion sucks. And we will watch something that I'm sure Matt loves because it's Matt's show. And I'm sure I will get little to no say in it. So I enjoyed this week when I got to pick. Now I got to love the thing that we talked about
multiple times.
No.
Yeah.
That's not true.
You picked Rent when we did it.
No.
You picked starting with Phantom of the Opera.
False.
Picked this one. Okay, well then respond to my damn texts. Try and text, hey, what do you want to do? Hey, what do you want to do? Hey, it's been 4 days. What do you want to do? And then, meanwhile, you're on Instagram. LOL. And I'm like, bitch, I texted you 4 days ago.
I enjoy keeping you on the hook. I enjoy it. It's a good exercise in our friendship. Anyway.
Yeah,
all right.
Now
so
half of my conversation with my therapist next week is going to be about you and how I'm abused and manipulated. I'll throw gaslit in there just for fun. It's a fun buzzword.
Good. Talk about let all those feelings out, especially about how much you hate good musicals. And tell her it doesn't make any sense. Tell her you don't understand why you hate good musicals. You just can't comprehend why they're good and you hate them, and that it doesn't make sense.
We uncovered a lot of it on why I don't care for this. Not my music. I don't have connection with it.
Not your fault. Parents' fault. Got it.
Yeah. And Baz Luhrmann held in great restraint to not put a fart joke in it. Like I felt like.
Okay. So, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, our next episode, but tune in. And what else, Matt? Anything else wrapping up?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have anything.
Oh my God. I
put dead this weekend anyways. Just kidding. If that's the case, this won't be released. Because it's the September episode.
Good luck to you.
Good
in
luck.
The underworld.
Yeah. Then we can do Hercules next.
Hercules.
Do you want to?
All right.
Yes, it's a throwaway joke. But let's do Hercules next. You heard it here first.
Okay.
We decided live here. We're doing Hercules next.
Done.
So, all right. Everyone, go down once more.
Bye.